Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Savella, I love, and here we are getting back to living and loving life again after a major life-altering loss, such as being widowed. Now, there's a lot of you out there that are considering dating again, or you're starting to date again, and you're either in a state of wondering or you're in a state of action. And so I want to talk to you tonight about the action part of dating again. Okay. Now, if you're a long ways out from your loss, or you're just recently new to your loss, you may be sitting in the place of, I could probably never truly love again. Like my late spouse, I loved them so much that loving anyone else again seems like an impossibility. But I'm willing to date. I'm willing to have fun with people. I'm willing to engage in sexual relationships because that could be a good time. Now, if you're in that state of mind where you see yourself as maybe moving on, dating again, but you're putting limitations on it, like I could never love again, never truly love again. Or I could probably love somebody, but I could definitely never marry again because that sacred space is reserved for the late spouse. If you're in that mindset, I want to speak to you. Or if you're dating somebody who has said to you, I'm okay dating you, but I could never fall in love again. So just know that up front. Or if they've said, I'm never getting married again. Okay, if you're dating that person, listen up. All right, so there's a few things I want you to consider, and I really hope that you'll give this opportunity to really consider what this might mean for you. The person that's in your life, this person that you're dating, that you're starting to care about, that you really enjoy and like spending time with, if you're the widower, and you're telling them, I could never love again, or I could never marry you again, or even if you're really thinking it, what you're doing is creating a barrier for yourself because you have a belief that there is only one true love in life. And so before you argue with me about that being true or not, what I want to say is, you're right, to an extent. The love that you had with your late spouse will never occur again in 1,000 million billion years. Unless maybe you're reincarnated and you see each other again. Maybe you'll carry on the love. Or maybe when you die, you'll get to reunite with them in a way. And what it's like on the other side, nobody truly knows, but we can guess. Maybe we'll talk about that. But there will never be a love like that again. That's true. But if you allow that to be, that's the only kind of love that can ever exist for you, then you're doing yourself and the person you may be dating a deep disservice. And I want to propose even that it's not fair to them. Now, excuse me for being crass, but unless you're paying this person to be your companion, they're going to have hope that maybe this will turn into something else, that maybe you as the widower are just in a state of pain and loss, that once you see how wonderful your date really is, how great your lives are now together, that you'll find your healing and move into that loving relationship with them and truly be able to start over from the heart. But if you're continuing the narrative in your mind that there's only one great love, I'll only ever have one husband, I'll only ever have one wife, or that last one was the last one I'll ever have, then it's almost like taking a flowering plant that's beginning to bud and cutting it off before the flower gets a chance to bloom. You never have an opportunity to see how beautiful that particular flower can become, because that flower is different from the one that bloomed last spring. These fields that you are allowing to lie fallow in your life need to be replanted. There's new opportunity for something new to arise. Now, how do you do that? How do you move on from a love that was and try to imagine that you could have love again or even marry again? Now, you don't have to say, I will definitely fall in love again. You don't have to say, I will definitely marry again. But what I propose to you is that you don't say, I will never love again, or I will never get married again. So, here we are. How do you do that? Okay. How do you shift from never to maybe? You allow yourself to be in a state of not knowing. Not knowing. So if you're dating someone and you say to them, I don't know if I'll ever marry again, but anything's possible. I don't know what new falling in love again will feel like, but I'm open to it. This is very different language from never. Okay? Now, if you truly feel never, then you also have an obligation to yourself and to anybody else you may be engaging with to consider whether or not you're being fair to that other person. Even if they say, hey, that's okay, I'm just, having a good time in dating, because what if they fall in love with you? And you already knew you're a big never. But if you can allow yourself to move into a state of not knowing, into a state of who knows, maybe, anything's possible. Now you've created space for something new to grow in your fields. Something verdant, something healthy, something alive, something that brings new life to you. Okay, so I want to hear your opinions and your thoughts. Please, put these down in the chat below. I would love to hear what you think about these things. And also, I'd love to see you all subscribe to this channel, so please do. And I also offer private, I also offer private coaching and counseling. So you can find me at my website at www.savellai.love. And I'll have that link below. So number 2, now that you've let yourself be into a state of not knowing, a state of maybe, anything's possible, how do you also accept that that's true? The number 2 is that you know that your life will never, ever be the same again. So by holding on to a love, to say that's the only one, that's the only way, I can never marry again, if you allow that to just stay in its sacred space and know that no matter what you do next in your life will never erase anything that was. It will never erase the love in your heart. If you know that your heart is infinite, you also know that there's a completely new playing field here. Okay? You can't hold the life that was as a standard for the life that could be, because things are not the same again. The person that you were with for all those years, or for the short years you had, whatever it is, they changed you irrevocably. And their death changed you and your life irrevocably. Now that nothing is the same again, can you truly hold that standard to something that can't exist again? You could allow yourself to live in the state of the past. People do it, and it's okay. You can choose that if you like. But what I want to encourage you to do is not bring a new person into your world if you can't allow yourself to say, maybe anything's possible. I don't know, but I'm open to possibilities. If you can't sit in that space, then I encourage you to reconsider whether or not you're ready. Because being ready doesn't mean I don't love my spouse anymore. Being ready doesn't mean I don't still miss them. Being ready doesn't mean I wish they didn't die. Being ready means I'm open to new possibilities, and I'm allowing this love I had for my late spouse to exist in the space and time in which it existed, and to know that my heart is infinite, and to know that that love and bond that I have with that person on the other side, it's still there, will always be there, and that does not negate any new love that I could potentially create with someone else to bring new joy into my life, because you are here. You're still here. You're still alive. If you're still alive, you still have purpose to bring new joy and meaning and some type of growth into your world. And if being with another person is a possibility for you, this is the avenue to get there. Okay. So the other question is to ask yourself, and you're not going to be able to answer it very well, who are you now? Who am I? Who am I now that my spouse that defined half of me, my other half, now that they're gone, how do I define myself? Who am I? Well, guess what? Since things are never going to be the same again, you now have this opportunity to explore a whole new side of yourself that you may not have even known existed, that maybe would never have had the opportunity to exist had maybe you died first. Okay? So there's a whole world of growth that can happen for you by allowing new experience, new possibility, new people, new love, new adventure to come into your world. Now, your loved one on the other side is looking down at you, over at you, across the veil to you, wanting you to live, wanting you to still have life. So imagine you spend the next 20 years alone, sad, depressed, missing them constantly, and all of these boats of opportunity come in to save you from your loneliness and your sadness and your unhappiness, but yet you keep turning all the boats away, only to die 20 years later. You go on the other side to meet your loved one, your late wife, or your late husband, and they say, oh my goodness, wow, well, what did you do with the last 20 years of your life? I'm so happy to see you again. And you say, well, I sat in the house, I went to work, I paid the bills, and I missed you. What? You were on Earth? You had food and adventure and money and time and opportunities, and all you did was sit in the house and do nothing? You were still alive. You had so much time. You could have done this and this and this and this and this, and you didn't do anything. Can you imagine this conversation? Right? The love that you have with them isn't going to be broken. The bond you have isn't going to be broken. And that even the marriage is an eternal bond. On the other side, now none of us know for sure, but we can look at different allegories. We can look at messages from the Bible. We can look at messages from people who teach us spiritual lessons, people who've crossed over, died, and come back. All kinds of lessons we can learn. And almost all of them that I have ever learned about say that there isn't just one great love. That there are many loves that we have throughout many lifetimes, and that the one that you had was vital and important and everlasting. And maybe you don't go on and have another one, but if you're here listening to this video, you're considering it. You've thought about the possibilities. So could you have a love like you've never experienced before? Could that be a possibility? Could it be with a person that was very unlike your late spouse? Could it be that you experience new ways of feeling passion, new ways of making love, new ways of courtship, new feelings that you never had before? And allow yourself to know that this is part of my human experience. I have an obligation because I'm still here to continue living my life. Staying alone, limiting yourself, saying, I could never love again. I will never marry again. Again, is like cutting off that flower at the bud before it can bloom. Don't do that to yourself. And don't do that to someone else. Allow yourself to be in a state of not knowing. Be open. Be open to the joys of this life while you're still here. And know that this is your opportunity to engage with new people, new experiences that help your soul to grow and to move forward. This is why you're still here, because you still have lessons to learn. You still have more love to give. In every afterlife experience I've ever learned about, they all say that love is the most important thing that we do in this life. How can you love better? When you cut yourself off from possibility, you also cut off love. Yes, could this new person that you may fall in love with die? Absolutely. You might die too. Could they break your heart? Yes, that's possible. Maybe you break their heart. I don't hope any of that for you. But everything comes to an end eventually. And by not allowing ourselves to experience new opportunities in life, we also deny ourselves the very joy that comes along with the risk of loving. You were hurt deeply, deeply by the loss of your spouse because you loved them so much. But would you have traded all of this pain that you have now for never having known them at all? Unless you had a really rotten marriage and you're happy they're gone? I doubt your answer is yes. Most of you would say, no, I wouldn't have traded it for the world, even though I'm in deep despair right now. So if you're in deep despair, you allow yourself time to grieve. But when you think you might be ready, and whenever that is up to you. You get to define it, no one else does. It's okay to grieve and meet a new person. But in order to do that fairly, you have to be open to possibility. That is the magic line to walk over to know if you're ready. Do I have a never in my vocabulary? If you have a never in your vocabulary, then you might not be ready. But if you can say maybe, if you can say yes, I'm open to possibility. If you can say, I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I don't know. But I'm willing to find out. Then you're ready. On this channel, we're getting back to living and loving life again. After major life-altering loss, such as being widowed. On this channel, people are dating widows and widowers and wondering how to help them move forward. Wondering, am I in too deep with someone that's going to break my heart? If they have never in their vocabulary, you might be setting yourself up to get your heart broken. But if they watch this video, maybe they can too learn to start opening themselves up to new ways of thinking, because sometimes that's all the shift that it takes. Our loved ones on the other side, they want us to be happy. They want us to love again. There's no threat to the marriage or the bond. That's eternal. That will always remain. If you'd like to learn more, you can find me at my website. The link's below. And also for widowers, I invite you to join our Facebook group at Permission to Love Again. And you just click the option to learn more on the business page, and you can be taken to an opportunity to join the private Facebook group Permission to Love Again. Have a lovely evening, a lovely day, and know that all of you are worthy and capable of loving and being loved again. Good night.